Up at 6 a.m. this morning and in Carlisle by 9:40. A beautiful sunny day, so I'm in shorts with no coat or jacket. But here in the border city, an icy cold wind is blasting down the street. Bad news, not merely because of the cold, but today we've two steam trains, both running round the Cumbrian coast. One of them Blue Peter, which I've never seen, and I was hoping for some aerial filming along the scenic Solway coast. Back in the shelter of the Citadel, we have strange goings-on. Easter is 2 weeks away, but the Easter Bunny seems to have misread his calendar. Carrot never have that effect on me.
Express service to Manchester Airport. Callers Penrith, North Lakes, Oxenholme Lake District, Lancaster, Preston, Bolton, Manchester Oxford Road, Manchester Piccadilly and Manchester Airport. This train is full of hired coaches.
Give over, Mum. I'm far too old for the Easter Bunny. And not long afterwards,
Department.
What was that about it doesn't stop here?
So sorry.
Here comes the star of the show, 60532 Blue Peter. Already the crowds are blocking my view. A young fellow YouTuber has sat down on the platform edge and got unobstructed footage. At my age, that's simply not possible. To many people, Blue Peter will be remembered as a long-running children's television program. It was, long before television, the nautical flag representing the letter P, Papa, and also carried the meaning "come aboard at once, we're about to sail." Fishing boats use it to mean "my nets are snagged." LNER had a long history of naming their crack locomotives after famous racehorses. Blue Peter won both the Derby and the 2,000 guineas in 1939. How nice to see Mark I coaches, genuine steam-age stock, running behind a steam locomotive. As Blue Peter disappears off to Upperby for servicing, watering and reversing, Tangmere's train arrives from Upperby, which it has used purely for reversing. With a very brief stop here, Tangmere will slip into High Wapping siding, where a tanker is waiting to water her before she sets off for the coastal route.
The first thing in the race that we...
Despite the crowds, no station security staff were visible, and some members of the public were behaving in a dangerously irresponsible manner. Now I must head for the train to St. Bees. During the 80-minute trip, the wind died down and conditions for aerial filming became ideal. As Blue Peter's train was scheduled to set off almost 2 hours after Tangmere's, I decided to film the two trains in separate locations. Tangmere I would catch at St. Bees, a lovely, if somewhat isolated little town, almost, though not quite, on the coast. I would then take a train back to Whitehaven to capture Blue Peter, wind permitting, making her way slowly along the spectacular coastline between Parton and Whitehaven. The famous St. Bees School, situated right beside the railway line, would give its pupils a fine view of two steam trains today, if it weren't the Easter holidays. St. Bees is the only passing place on the long single-track section between Whitehaven and Sellafield. I'm joined for the afternoon by Michael. Our driver hands over the token for the section from Whitehaven to the signalman and collects the corresponding token for the line to Sellafield. The Carlisle train prepares to depart.
Is she going south? Sorry.
St Bees Station was opened in 1849 by the Whitehaven and Furness Junction Railway. I was sad to see that its distinctive old name board has disappeared. Tangmere and the now misnamed Settle & Carlisle Steam Special appear in the distance. The signalman in his high-vis vest is waiting just beyond the crossing gates. With a train of this length blocking the road, he'll be anxious to get it on its way as quickly as possible. This is the only road through St Bees, so the trains can cause considerable disruption at times. Tangmere now heads for the stretch of track which runs for several miles right alongside the beach of the Irish Sea. Sadly, the air isn't quite clear enough for the passengers to see the Isle of Man, a prominent feature on a good day, but all look set for a most enjoyable trip. I land the drone and pack it away before rejoining Michael on the station. We shouldn't have long to wait for our train for the short trip to Whitehaven and, given that the wind has died completely, some glorious footage of Blue Peter on that spectacular stretch of Solway coastline. Is that somebody shouting at me? Couldn't hear whether it was Tim or Tom. Well, he's got the token. Tokens are swapped, and we await the arrival of our northbound train. But it doesn't appear. A long wait ensues. You know the drill better than me. You're the railway man. What?
I think Tommy has caused a track fire.
It was an everyday part of life in the steam age. You know, you thought nothing of it. Rumours are starting to reach us. And it's not long before we see the evidence for ourselves.
Well done, Tangmere.
No, that's somebody's cliff there. Yeah, but you can't see. Yeah, but on the other side. The smoke is going in.
I don't know how long we waited. I didn't keep a record, and Real-Time Trains has a strange way of recording situations like this. Blue Peter's train had been held at Wigton, just 2 short stops from Carlisle, and the locomotive sent on to Workington to access the Carlisle-bound track. Would we get home tonight? No alternative means of transport are available from St. Bees. Lupita's train was taken back to Carlisle, from which it departed 4 hours late, I believe behind Class 40 and Dania. And yet, according to real-time trains, it reached its destination dead on time. Our train did eventually get through, probably an hour or so behind schedule. Passengers alighting from it were telling horror stories of miles of ferocious line-side fires and predicting that nothing more would get through tonight. They were correct. Northern Rail went on to close the entire route. Our train got as far as Workington, where it was cancelled. The empty stock ran on to Carlisle, but without a guard and without passengers. A replacement coach was to be provided, but not for another hour. I wouldn't be able to get home tonight. Michael and I caught a regular service bus to Carlisle, a crowded, uncomfortable vehicle which picked up some of our rail enthusiast friends along the way. Arrival in Carlisle was with just 20 minutes to spare for me to catch the last train of any use, still leaving me with a 2-mile walk over the hill in the dark with a heavy backpack. Thank you, Tangmere. I foresee a total steam ban being announced very soon. And thank you for watching. Here's to the next time, which will certainly be diesel traction.